think, yeah, without further ado, I can present Inga Ruginienė. She's the president of Lithuanian Union Confederation. That's, yeah, I don't know how it's in English, but... And yeah, the floor is yours. I'm happy to have you here.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we had a very good day. I saw a little bit part of this day in online version, so I think now you are a little bit professionals in strike question. So I prepared some things from my experience, and maybe let's do that in that way, that I will present my thoughts, my experience, and then you will ask questions and we will start discussion. I represent Lithuanian Trade Union Confederation. It is the biggest central confederation in Lithuania, which has 25 branch trade unions. And we unite 50,000 members. It's not a big amount if you compare between European countries, but in Lithuania it's quite a huge organization. So that's why sometimes I'm saying that we are more organization with such a clear structure and rules. That's why for me it's a great pleasure to work with Gegužės pirmosios, I don't know how it's in English, May 1st trade union, because this trade union is more flexible, more, how to say, more youth-people trade union. So this cooperation is very useful for us. Okay, but today about strikes. And you know, in Lithuania, it was time when we just spoke about strikes, but we didn't know what does it mean. Because for a long period, almost maybe more than 10 years, we didn't have any normal strikes. Some of the teachers had some movements, but it wasn't a big thing. And the first I would say real action, it was 2018, when one of quite big trade union teachers union, they occupied education ministry, and it was interesting thing. A lot of people they were very angry. They said that crazy people, stupid, and a lot of other things. But from my point of view, it was really good example how you can be active and how you can protect your rights. If you cannot agree with someone, why not? All things, it's good. And later we had teachers strike, but you know, in public sector it is quite easier to do. Much difficult it's in private sector. So in I will say when it was yes, it was last year, 2022, we had really big 2 strikes. And I tried to write both enterprises just to compare. And today I will talk what was differences, what was the same things, and what we learned from that process. And after teachers, so it was surprise for everyone that at first during the early spring or late winter. It starts in January. Achema, it is private company, private chemical company, which located very close to Kaunas in Jonava. Who is from Lithuania, they know. Foreigners maybe not know Jonava, but it's quite very close to Kaunas in region. And later we have another company. It is state transport enterprise in Vilnius. They started strike in December of the same year. So now we have small experience to look what happened and what we could do better, or maybe we can say that we couldn't do anything more than we did on that time. So at first, just to get understanding how we have in Lithuania, what legislation we have in Lithuania, and what is a model of actions when you are preparing for strike. So the main things, the main procedure and main things what we have to know, that you cannot strike in different questions. For example, if you think that okay, my salary is not very big, maybe I will go tomorrow for the strike. It is impossible in Lithuania. So the main thing when you can prepare to strike, it is you have to first start collective negotiations. So in our legislation, labor code, it's written that at first you need to start collective agreement negotiations. You have to set demands very clearly. Then you have to follow all procedure of collective negotiations. And after all, when you have disagreement, you have to start disagreement process. It's another process. And after that, when you are signing disagreement paper, you can prepare for strike. So what does it mean for normal worker? It's a very long procedure. And this is the main minus why in Lithuania we don't have a lot of strikes. Sometimes we are joking that when we start to think about strike and we finish all procedures and we are ready to go to active action, actually we forgot why we are going to this active action. Because procedure is so long that you almost lose all active people who were ready in the beginning. So collective agreement negotiations demands, it's another minus and another like stone on the way, because usually when we normally go to negotiations, our demands are very detailed, very detailed demands. For example, we want to sign collective agreement. We want to do something at workplaces. For example, maybe it can be regulate working hours, resting hours, health and safety issues, wages, of course, and other things. But it is daily questions and very detailed questions. And when you are going to collective negotiations, it seems very normally because we do it every day. We do it every year. It depends on what enterprise, what organization it is. But when you have disagreement on that question and you are starting to think about strike, you can see problem because with these demands you have to go not just to workers and to explain them that we have to go to strike, but also we have to go to public and to explain society that these demands are very important. And this is a big difference between, for example, Belgium or France. When they say, oh, pension, we are going to pension on 67. It's not suitable for us. Let's strike tomorrow. And everything is stopped. According to their legislation, they can do that. According to our legislation, we cannot change demands. If we set 10 points for collective agreement negotiations, and later we want to go to strike, we have to take these 10 points and put to strike process. And when you come to society and say, okay, they are asking, what is your main demand? To sign collective agreement. They say, what? Why is it so important? It's not important. If I would come to society and say, I earn, for example, 500 euros. It's not enough to survive. I need 1,000. Then society says, yes, you need 1,000. But I cannot say that because it wasn't the same demand when I went to collective agreement negotiation. And this is very big minus in legislation. Then when you go to a long process and you start concretely, you said, okay, this is this agreement paper you are signing of employer and trade union, and you are starting a new process, strike organization process. You have to have strike committee, you have to organize voting because your trade union members in enterprise have to say, majority of them have to say, yes, we are going to strike. And it took long procedure because employer, they are looking all your steps. And if you make a small mistake, they are going to court. And they are stopping all process. Then you are going to court, all lawyers. You are paying a lot of money. You can win or you can lose. Okay, for example, in these cases, it was win, but it comes 1 month later. Again, you made voting, everybody says, yes, we are ready to vote. After that, you have to organize all strike process. It, again, takes a long time. So, and from my experience, both in Achema and Vilnius State Vilnius Transport Enterprise, it took 2-3 years when people start to strike. 2-3 years. It's unbelievable. And then everybody asks, why Lithuania don't have strikes? Because of that. And what we saw, what was the main differences? The main differences was that one was private and another was state. And state, it's not just, like school, or they have the same, they have the special statement in labor law that state transport sector is very, they are making very important function for society. That's why in law is written that they cannot strike 100%. They have to agree what percentage of employees will go to strike. Of course, they cannot agree because on that time employer said 100%. I need 100% because suddenly all citizens in Vilnius is on the emergency level, and he have to provide 100% 100% of transport, local transport. What trade union did, they didn't have any choice to go to court and to decide what percentage should be, who will continue some of the functions. And court said 50, I guess. Yes? Yeah, it was 50. Unbelievable again. Just 50% of employees could strike. They were ready, all of them, but they couldn't because it was written in law that they cannot strike 100%. And this is again difference between Belgium when they say we're striking and we don't care. Is it public, not public, emergency, not emergency? So for them it took quite some time to decide what percentage it should be. But it didn't kill a motivation of employees. They were ready to wait of the decision because they were very motivated to go to strike. What other differences we saw? That Achema is not just enough that it is private company. When they stop their production, it's chemical factory. Nobody feels that. It's just like employees, local employees business. And somewhere in Kaunas region, nobody see where is it. Nobody feel. And it was so difficult to raise questions in society and to show that, come on, you have to be in solidarity with all workers, because if they are going to strike, they suffer. It's something is wrong in their workplaces. And this is the main difference in this company, where suddenly in Vilnius we lost 50% of local transport. December, winter, minus, I don't know, 3, windy, nobody cannot go to work, schools, kindergarten, and so on. And it was a big pressure from Vilnius citizens to do something. But our municipality, they, liberals. They are very nice, beautiful, and clever. So this pressure helped actually for this strike process. Another difference between these companies: private company, a lot of employees, more than 1,000, but motivation for striking was very low. And this is the main difference between these. If in one case, chairwoman, she was yesterday, between you, she went to every employee and said, you have to think about the future, you have to think. This is the only way to do that. And like, and they were thinking, oh, if I will lose the job, okay, if I will go to strike, will someone pay me salary or not? What will be next? And so on and so on. And the difference with this company, the shop steward, he didn't have to go to everyone. The employees took him and said, we want to go to strike. And no other discussions. So for him it was much easier because all employees were ready. And there were some of them were upset because of these 50% they should be buses, trolley buses. So that's why they took quite long period, and they did it in very good way. And they didn't have strike breakers. And if we come going to strike, you can get twice or maybe 3 times bigger salary. Who can, say no? A lot of people say yes. And they raised their salaries on that time, last month, quite high. That's why for president of the trade union, for her, it was so difficult to keep strike in action. And we of course, we did a great job in with public media and so on. We didn't want to show that it's so difficult to keep strike. But when you know what is going inside, when you see that main lady who is owner of this company, she's ringing to employees, she is almost crying and telling the stories how she was she's multi-millionaire. How she was child and how she remembers the times when she didn't get enough food and so on and so on. And we are on the same level. You have to understand me. It was unbelievable what kind of calls employees got. And of course, when you have pressure from management that this is the biggest company in region, you think the salaries are not very low. Actually, it's true. And you just have to think, if you will do something wrong for company, we will close. We will close company, and where will you go? And people, when you don't have a big motivation to strike, when you are thinking about how to earn more money, we saw the fact that more and more people, they agree to get 3 times bigger salary on that day. And strike started to go lower and lower. What is interesting, because the strike is a strike process always we do in several, if you take a strike process, it's several parts of the process. So when you are dealing inside company with employer, because negotiations didn't finish, you always negotiate. You are dealing with employees because you have to keep motivation for strike. And another part, very important part, is what is going outside. How society feels, how they support, how media speak about all these things. And I can say that if we compare media work in both cases, I would say it was a great job, because it wasn't very, very difficult to put some articles, opinion, and so on. They were quite active. Difference was that in these both cases, employees were in different acting. And if we speak about society, interesting experience. When you know that it's private company somewhere in region, you don't feel you don't feel all things what is happening during the strike. Society were like sleeping all the time. I support, of course, I support all workers, yes, but someone start discussions, but look, their salaries are so high, and they want more. Why they want more? And when we will come back to the beginning, what I said, demands, when you put demands to collective bargaining, and it was about not their basic salary, but additional amount of money for percent from the profit. and they had in collective agreement written, if workers work very well, a company gets such amount of profit, company agreed to share this profit. And they start to strike because they decided not to share. And how can you explain for society that it is not basic salary, it is just amount, some amount, and it is about sharing of profit? No, it was very difficult to understand. For us professionals it was clear, but for like people, citizens, they say, oh, why they are upset? Salaries are quite good. I earn less. I don't know. And it was like another thing what we saw, that even employees' families didn't support. We made a protest action near the company, and we said that okay, several hundred of employees they are on strike today. Please call the family members, someone else to come to this protest action just to show that we are a big company. We did everything from our organization side, but not a lot of people were. And this is a sad story. So it means that after a long time, when you don't have a big support, it is quite difficult to continue a good strike. Then you have to think what to do else. So I can say that in continuation, IHEMA still is in court. It is 2022 January, and now it is 2023 October, and they still in court. They still have some questions which they are dealing. In that case, society were very, very, very with strong motivation, because you are feeling that bus is not coming, or if it's come, it's very full, and you are starting to be angry, and you are starting to push municipality. Why you don't have agreement? Because I cannot go to work. It is very cold. I cannot stand on the bus stop. It's cold with the kids and so on. So I was surprised, positively surprised, that all the unions said, no, we have to support this company. We have to support workers. And this pressure, I think, helped workers very much to get agreement. Is it true?
Yeah.
Because Jurgis was a part of this process, so he knows everything in details. Yeah. So this is difference. I wrote that the same difficulty was that demands, not understandable demands. In Vilnius transport company, it was the same. They couldn't change. If you change a little bit, even comma, employer go to court. And with IHEMA, they did it. They went to court and they said when trade union wanted to refresh, because strike have continuation. They are not stopped. They stopped for a while, but they not closed the strike. And when they wanted to refresh, employers said they changed the mind. And now they in court. The trade union wants to get a final decision. They didn't change the mind. So that's why for these companies was very big difficulty, because they wanted to sign collective agreement. Again, for society, it's not understandable. What does it mean? In Lithuania, and I don't know how it's in other countries, but in Lithuania, collective agreement, social dialogue, it's such not popular words. And sometimes when I go to publicity, I want to say some of the I want to raise some of the questions. We agree with my team that I'm not using collective agreement, social dialogue, because nobody understands that. They start, like you scroll, and if you see a collective agreement or social dialogue, you scroll quite faster and faster. People want to, they want to hear real problems. And for us as trade unions, it is very big challenge and task for the future. If we want to go through this difficult process, we want to learn to put very short and clear problems and go to society with that. Not just like we are professionals, we like to say very difficult sentences about work condition, health and safety issues, and so on, with all details. For people, it's not understandable. Even for some of workers, it's not understandable. It's supposed to be short, clear, and not more than 3. Then you can go straight ahead. I'm looking what it is interesting that Achema Trade Union is part of our confederation. Vilnius Transport Trade Union, they are not part of our confederation. And inside of us, we had a discussion. Should we support or not? If it's not our members. And if with Achema there wasn't any doubts. With Transport Trade Union, we had discussion. But we took decision that it doesn't matter. We should support. And I am very happy that our branch trade unions they supported both of the enterprises partly. They supported financially. Because these processes are very, very expensive. And trade unions should have resources for that. And this is answer for the same question, why we don't have a lot of strikes in Lithuania, because the unions don't have enough financial resources. Both financial and both professional resources. No resources at all. Because for long time, we understood that trade union is, like a party organization company. When we go to excursions, we are buying presents on Christmas time and so on and so on. But we didn't understand that trade union is about labor law, about active actions, and if you are going in different kinds of active actions, you need money. You need money, you need lawyer. It is very easy to see, in media, when someone is in protest action, just go on the street. Oh, it's so easy. I can do it every day. But it's not easy. It's easy to go, but it's not easy to organize because it is a big responsibility. You have to have resources if someone will go to court, if someone will go to other institutions, and so on. So that's why trade union work is about collecting these resources. If it's good today, you collect money until it will be bad and you have resources. In Nordic countries, they are strong. I think sometimes I'm thinking that they forget how to go to protest action or strike. It's enough for them to show how much money they have in the banks. That's all. When I was in Stockholm, it was 2 months ago, we were visiting our colleagues, and it's like batotas katilis pas pasaka. I don't know what's Puss in Boots. Yeah. Like you are going, it is city center all they are going, this is our street of buildings, not buildings. This is our street of buildings. This is our street of buildings, and you see that almost all city center is buildings of trade union.
But it was a confederation or just one trade union?
It depends. The Confederation have a big amount, and also branches have their buildings too. They have big buildings with private flats. Like, it's unbelievable. And because they want in a clever way, they don't want to collect money in bank accounts, they invest. And they say, if something is wrong, they are selling one building, and it's enough to stop one enterprise for half a year. So employers, they don't want to test. That's why they have agreements. And you can imagine with alien unions are coming like and employers say, okay, let's go to strike. As it was said in the camp. Go. They on the first now they are in court. But on the first day they said, well, we're not going to court, just go. Because they know what kind of resources have trade union. But in that process, employer couldn't plan that in other trade unions will send money for supporting. And it was very positive thing. But was negative thing that we still, as trade unions, don't have solidarity. And like, you know, I represent the big confederation. I have to say that everything inside is very good. We are the best, the most beautiful trade union. Yes, it is, but we have problems. And in whole Lithuania, we don't have enough solidarity between us. So if we don't have solidarity between us, how can we ask it from employees? I cannot understand. When, you know, it's like our neighbor have a problem, I am counting. Oh, it's not my question. It's nothing about me. So, okay, if it will be, if he will almost die, I will send some money. But I will not do more. And this is our weakness. And I always say the same example, like it was in France, when ballet dancers were dancing in the street. And when journalists came and asked, why are you dancing? Why are you protesting, not going to work and you dancing? Today, it's a public transport strike. How you are related to that? They said, and what I like more, that they said, I don't have to be related. Other workers, they are going to protest. I should support. This is my, I must to do that. So if in Lithuania, someone from you, even one person would go to protest, and we all would say, with all 50,000 of members, that we are supporting, it would change completely the situation. But we like, you know, to think more about ourselves, about our very important cheers, about how we are important, and so on and so on. That's why someone used this situation. Government, politicians, employers, they use it very well. And my big hope that one day we will change it. No matter are you friends or not friends with trade unions, you can have different opinions in different processes. But if someone goes to protest action, you have to be together. And that's why we didn't look to what will do others. We decided that we should support state transport, our organization. And I remember we rent a red bus, and we made big signs that we support them, and we made big circles around municipality with like screaming and so on, that we are supporting, and the media showed it very widely. So if everybody would do the same, it would be maybe the ending would be much more went in a positive way. Oh, I am practicing English with you. I would try to say, if we would take two processes, what pluses and what minuses I can see. So the big plus that in different way, but we had support from society and from media. Media is the very important tool of trade unions. If we don't have money, we have to use media, because then we can influence society. But what minuses? So as I said, no solidarity and no experience. We don't have any experience in this kind of things. We don't have any experience even to go to protest action, because we have to do it very, very often to get used to people, to know what it is. But when people are going on the streets one time per 5 years, it doesn't mean anything. But this is this kind of thing I put for myself, because I'm president for more than 5 years, and I feel that maybe I didn't do everything to activate people to go in the street, because every time it's so difficult to do that. That's why when I in the beginning said that the cooperation between our trade unions is very important, because you are teaching us, all bureaucrats, how to do a real protest action, how to do it in a normal way. So, despite all, some people who are thinking that, these young people, they are a little bit crazy, they are strange, and so on, I say that our future is in young people, in active young people, who are a little bit crazy, who are a little bit different, but they should to show all of us how to do that. We can like, we can dislike it, but this is the only one way to push all society to understand it. If you will just sit down on the chair and do nothing, just write comments, all comments we can write very actively in different way, and we can be very angry, we can be very lovely. So we are professionals in writing comments. But when it's a question, are you going to the street? Nobody. And we, several weeks ago, we did one of the, I would say, it is small protest action, but I was very happy that a lot of branches gave at least several people for this movement. And we had protests for public sector, because now we have the big reforms and the government wants to change a lot of things, and we are not agreed. But it's not enough. We have to have another steps. And if we think that one time we will go to the street and it's enough, it's not enough. What I saw from my experience in Lithuania, our politicians, they become not very sensitive. If 10 years ago you go, you collect even 1,000 people near parliament. All politicians they were very nervous. They started the discussions, agreements, and so on. Now nobody cares about that. You can take 1,000, you can take 2,000, you can even sleep near the parliament or government. Nobody cares about that. So that's why we have to activate strikes. That's why I can see that it is only one real tool which can push to go to some agreements. And the first step should be legislation. But honestly, to do that, it's almost impossible. Do you know what is happening in Europe now? They are discussing in France and Belgium. We will have a very big demonstration on 13th of December in Brussels, in European level, because of that. They are discussing that they have to cut the strike rights, because it is too easy to go there. So can you imagine that if France and Belgium, they are thinking about that, so for us to liberalize this whole process is almost impossible. But as I always say, you know, it's like when you cannot do something, you have to always speak, and one day it's happening. Like I started to speak 4 years ago about 4 days working 4 working days per week, and everybody said you are totally crazy, socialist, communist, a lot of things I heard about myself, and they said it's impossible. Today, even some of the bank economists, they are speaking about the okay, it's maybe normal thing. So you cannot be tired to speak every day, even if sometimes you feel that it is impossible to do that. So one day it will come in reality, a little bit, step by step, maybe not in like total difference, but step by step some changes. But we have to change situation. It's not normal 2-3 years for strike. It's not normal. I don't know any other country, maybe Latvia, and Estonia, maybe Poland, because we are in one region. But it's not normal. We have some. It is interesting to mention that we have some professions who cannot strike. For example, policemen. They cannot strike by law. They can go to protect action, but they cannot strike. Some of the people, they are very afraid to go to strike. And what I want to tell you, we have such a region trade union federation with very active president, owners. And he has one of trade union, it is one institution near environment ministry. And suddenly environment ministry wanted to change a lot of things in that institution. And of course it was bad for workers. And they started to think what to do. They didn't have a collective agreement process. So it means they cannot strike. Or they can start collective agreement process, but after 2 years, after all reforms, maybe they could start. So they started to think what to do, and it was they are very creative people, and it was their success. They decided to make Italian strike. Did you discuss about that? And I would say that in Lithuania, I think it was the first time when someone used that. And they made a big message in media. They even made stickers about And after 2 weeks, Minister of Environment Ministry, he called trade union to discuss and make agreement. And now they are so happy because they won. So this is another example when you don't have maybe a power to have a good to go to a real strike. Maybe you don't have right steps according to legislation to go to a strike. If you are creative, you can protect your rights. It is a question about, do you want to do that, or do you want just to sit and look from outside? So about this kind of process, I heard discussions between policemen. Because according to law they cannot strike, but they are thinking to go to by the same way. So hopefully we will have second case about that. It's the same like I told you in the beginning about teachers who occupied education ministry. It was something different, and everybody, society didn't know how to evaluate. For everybody, for one part of society it was yes, it's okay, it's a good active action. For bigger part, it was they start to say, oh, it's very bad trade union. They are crazy. How can they do? It's not ethical thing, you know, to go to ministry, to live there, and so on and so on. I thought, oh my God, what are they talking about? If it works, we should do it. Yeah, someone will see online translation. In Monday I will have another discussion. But honestly, I believe that if you get the first thing in our daily work supposed to be to do everything to get agreement. We have to try to do everything to get agreement. But we know that sometimes it's impossible to do that. Then we have to have some power, some creative thoughts, how to push another side to get to agreement. A lot of people, they think that if we invite society to go to protest action, to strike, we are like radicals.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
It's not true, because we as trade unions, we always say that on the first level is agreement. Nobody wants to lie. Nobody. Everybody wants to sit like adults near the table, to speak, to put arguments from both sides and to get agreement. But we have a small amount of employers where you can do that. When you come easily, maybe it's long process, difficult to work, of course it's not very easy. You have to prepare arguments, and this is for both sides. When we have another group of negotiation, when both employer or trade unions, they don't want to prepare, they just want to have a strange process. Just I said that this is red, I said that this is green, and that's all. So if we have situation that one side they think that they are right and they don't want to go to agreement, we have to do something to push them to gather the good arguments to come to this middle point. This is my opinion. Maybe someone thinks in another way.
Just take notice of the time you should be.
I already actually finished, and I wanted to ask, maybe some have questions. Maybe I didn't mention something, and goodness, maybe you know the details and I didn't say it.
No.
From my experience, I remember when we were in the camera, that was the first time when security from me out from enterprise. I was like saying, what? I couldn't believe that they could do for, we were with Ramunia, two women. They just put, so you can feel how aggressive that site was and how it was difficult for shop steward in that days. Okay, so let's ask questions.
Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask about the teachers' strike, which is happening, and specifically about this detailed decision, I don't know, like maybe tactical decision not to end the strike, but to put a pause, you know. So I read in the articles that it's kind of a gray zone, legislatively speaking. So can you comment on that?
It's normal, the same Achema did. They didn't stop completely strike, but they made a pause. So it is normal when you, usually the leadership who are organizing strike, they are discussing. It is very difficult emotional process. And on this time, 2 weeks for teachers. It was very, very difficult. And they didn't get enough support in this fight. So I think it was a very clever way to make a short break, just to get energy again, and to put to come back with demands on November, when it will be the big discussions on budget in Parliament. So sometimes we all, you know, our big hope that when you start strike, after 2 or 3 weeks, you can set agreement and everything is finished. But the strike is so difficult process, and not everything are going very well. So some of details are quite very difficult. So I think it was very, very clever way. And I hope that if they will come back with the strike, that more and more people will support them. My education trade union will kill me next week, for sure. But I said for them that it doesn't matter with what questions workers are coming on a strike, we have to support. Is it crazy? Is it too big, too small? It doesn't matter, but we have to support. If they are coming, they feel that they need it. So, but it's very difficult political question, because a lot of trade unions decide collective agreement and they didn't go to the strike. That's why for them it was very difficult. But agreement was quite good. And this year in budget, education sector have a very big piece of the cake. That's why I have problems with other sectors. Because doctors, nurses, social workers, yeah? Policemen, they didn't get enough. So it's like when you have small budget, for someone you put big part, for others, nothing. So it's always difficult question.
I have a question related to what you just said. I grew up in Brussels, in Belgium, so I saw a lot of strikes happen, especially in public transport sector, where I was directly impacted since I was taking the bus often. So, do you think there are any downsides to such open laws around striking at all, or do you think it's? Do you see any downsides of the way the French and the Belgians are allowed to strike kind of the next day without? Downsides, negatives. At all. It's just out of curiosity.
For me, it's a great example of active action. And as trade union leader, maybe one day I will, you know, wake up and I will see the same in Lithuania. Maybe, but it's really a good example. And when I was several times, even in a demonstration, in the days when they were in the strike, and to feel how people supporting, they are, it's for them it's okay to go in or to online work, and they don't see any problem. They say, come on, they are striking, no negative force. So this is a very active society. An active society, thinking society is the it's a strong basement for country. In English.
Yeah, so I think let's take the last round of questions and let's try to make it short. So we see, yeah, Rokas, Mateusz, someone else? You want someone? Is someone?
Let someone
It's okay. Go.
Cool, thanks. So liberalization of strike laws has been like a talking point for trade unions for at least like 5 years now, but there wasn't a single like policy proposal on this. Do you know why is that the case?
It was several proposals, but they didn't see, you know, daylight. But we discussed inside of our trade union that despite that it is not popular question, next year we will provide a legislation proposal. And on December I'm planning to have my council meeting, and we will have main topic about strike. And I hope that inside of us we will have agreement how we have to change legislation, because we have to have also agreement how it should look like according this experience and other things. And hopefully next year, but everybody will try to kill, but no matter. We will do it. So we will see how it will look like.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since when was this legislation like implemented so strict, so rigid, you know, so it's so hard to go on strike? Like, was it immediately after 1991, or was it a gradual process?
I cannot say that because you know that we have new labor law from 2018, but I cannot say that in our old labor law was everything very easy. That's why we didn't have any strikes before. So with every change it becomes more and more complicated. But yes, you're right. I guess it's from the roots, from the history.
From 92.
Yeah, I think in Estonia it's the same. It's always been quite restricted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can ask?
Yeah.
I think this is a little related. I wrote it down. So do you think, okay, how much of an impact, if any, do you think transgenerational trauma of oppression has on the current generational attitude towards striking, towards labor law? You mentioned, for example, the division between individuals, right? Passivity, individual passivity, lack of kind of community-based thinking. Do you think there's any sort of trauma coming down in the laws that appear in
It's
the
like a question when it's impossible to answer.
Okay.
Because I can see the positive things happening between youth, and more and more youth are coming with left thinking ideas, because all our education, even from kindergarten, all system push us think like liberal movement. They separate us. They say that we are unique. We don't have to get together in communities because this is Soviet Union style. Everybody has to be unique, and this is a way to go to liberal model. That's why sometimes I have to go on. Sometimes we have upset minutes at our work, but again, next morning we are coming with positive things, and we see that youth can change a lot of things. And maybe we will not change 40 and plus, but youth, they are coming, as some politicians say, they are relaxed, they are lazy, they don't want to work, and so on and so on. I don't believe that. I think the youth are a little bit different, and they don't understand this difference. They don't know how to deal with that. And this is a positive.
Okay.
It was very challenging to speak in English, but I managed for 1 hour.
So, do we have a small break, I guess, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Then we come back with Pasha's presentation.